This is the 16th video in a series of 17 exploring the book, The Power of Discipline: How to Use Self-Control and Mental Toughness to Achieve Your Goals, by Daniel Walter. In this video, we're diving into Chapter 16, the Pareto Principle and Sturgeon's Law. How many times have you felt like you're working hard, really hard, yet the results just don't seem to match your effort? You follow the plan, you stay consistent, you give your time and energy, and still, it feels like you're going in circles. That feeling is more common than you think. And Daniel Walter dedicates this chapter to explaining why it happens and how it can actually become the driving force behind your prosperity. The truth is, not every effort produces an immediate result, but that doesn't mean your effort was wasted. The author reminds us of two powerful laws, the Pareto Principle and Sturgeon's Law. Two simple ideas that, when deeply understood, can completely change the way you see work, money, and your entire journey toward prosperity, especially after 40, when life demands more wisdom than speed. Sturgeon's Law was born from a science fiction writer named Theodore Sturgeon. Tired of critics who dismissed his genre as low-quality literature, he responded with a statement that became philosophy. 90% of everything is garbage. It might sound harsh, but think about it. In any field, art, business, investments, relationships, only a small portion truly stands out. Most attempts will fail, and that's okay. The problem is that most people give up before discovering the 10% that actually makes the difference. This truth is liberating for anyone rebuilding financially after 40, because it removes the pressure of perfection and replaces it with the power of consistency. You don't need to get everything right. You just need to keep going until you find what works. In practice, this means accepting that part of your time, effort, and even money will serve as a field for learning. But it's precisely that learning that prepares the ground for the breakthrough that changes everything. Now, the Pareto Principle complements this idea almost mathematically. It says that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. This applies to everything. 20% of your clients generate 80% of your profits. 20% of your decisions shape 80% of your financial life. And 20% of your habits sustain 80% of your prosperity. The secret is discovering which 20% those are, and then investing in them with discipline. If you're over 40, you've probably realized that working more doesn't always mean earning more, because productivity without direction is just wasted energy. Maturity teaches us to work smarter, not just harder. And that's where the Pareto Principle becomes such a powerful compass. It shows you where to place your focus, your time, and your energy to create the greatest impact with the least dispersion. Daniel Walter explains that understanding these two laws is essential to maintaining motivation during moments of frustration. Because when you realize that only a small portion of what you do will bear fruit, failure no longer breaks you. It becomes part of the process. You start to understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's the road that leads to it. Think of someone who writes 10 books and only one becomes a bestseller, or an entrepreneur who launches several businesses and only one takes off, or an investor who makes 20 investments and only 3 truly multiply. The impatient mind sees waste, but the disciplined mind sees statistics, and the mature, conscious, and determined person understands that success is a curve, and if you keep going, you'll eventually reach the upward side of it. When you accept that not everything you do will work, something magical happens. You free yourself from anxiety. You stop trying to control every outcome and start focusing on doing your best in the small things that truly matter. And that's when prosperity begins to flow. After 40, this lesson becomes even more valuable. Because at this stage of life, time takes on a different meaning. You no longer want to waste energy on things that don't make sense. You want to invest in things that bring real results, financial stability, emotional peace, and quality of life. And the Pareto Principle is the map that helps you identify where those vital 20% are, the ones that truly move your life forward. Maybe it's the 20% of clients who truly value your work, or the 20% of habits that make you feel good and productive. Or perhaps it's the 20% of beliefs that hold you back from prospering, and that, if replaced, could transform everything. But pay attention. Daniel Walter reminds us that these laws also require emotional discipline, because sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't failure, it's attachment. Many adults cling to projects, jobs, or businesses that no longer work simply because they've already invested too much time in them. But maturity demands another kind of wisdom. Knowing when to stop is also a way of prospering. It's not about giving up. It's about redirecting your energy toward what still blooms. To be emotionally mature is to look at a project that didn't work out and say, "It's okay, I've learned, now I move on." And that, believe me, is one of the greatest signs of both financial and spiritual intelligence. Because prosperity isn't about holding on to what's dying. It's about giving life to what can still grow. The most successful entrepreneurs and investors understand this deeply. They know that every failure is a paid lesson, a practical course in wisdom, and they understand that success doesn't come from avoiding mistakes, but from continuing despite them. That's why they take risks. They test, they learn, and they keep going until the right 20% appears. And when it does, it multiplies everything: money, time, and confidence. If you're starting over at 40, 50, or 60, remember this: it's not too late. You don't have to win every battle. Just choose the right ones. Your financial life begins to transform when you stop fighting on every front and start channeling your energy into what truly brings a return. The 80-20 rule, in truth, is an invitation to wisdom, to do less, but with greater awareness. And what about Sturgeon's law? It's there to remind you that the world is full of noise, of empty attempts, of projects that never take off. But hidden within all that apparent chaos, there's gold waiting to be found. It just takes patience to discover it. Those who give up too soon never reach the treasure, but those who persist, with strategy, with faith, and with discipline, discover that their 10% of gold can sustain a lifetime of prosperity. So if today you feel like you're planting but not yet harvesting, don't blame yourself. Maybe you're just passing through the 80% phase that prepares the soil for the 20% that will bloom. Keep cultivating, but learn to observe. Not every field needs more effort. Some need pause, reflection, and redirection. That's what self-discipline truly is: acting with intelligence, not with desperation. And remember, the laws of prosperity don't reward those who work the hardest, but those who work the smartest. What will lead you to abundance after 40 isn't the amount of effort, but the quality of your focus. It's about stopping the waste of energy on what bears no fruit and directing it toward what has the power to multiply. It's about learning to fail gracefully, adjusting your course, and trying again with wisdom. Did you enjoy this video? Then like, share, subscribe, and comment. I just need to get 20% right, and I will. You can also explore our other materials on financial mindset development, linked in the first pinned comment. I'll see you in the next video.